I don't have foundation to match my sunburn, and I'm not gonna match my face to my sunburn, so this is what you're getting. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over the recent reads I have read through the past 3 months. Buckle up and let's get started because we have a lot of books to go through. So the last time I made this video was back in March, and the last book I had read then was A Court of Thorns and Roses. If only I had known what the next 3 months would bring. It's brought a lot. In the past 3 months, I have read 14 books. There were some 5s and then there were some 1s. So let's go through them all. The first book being This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. In this book, you're following 2 people, Kate and August. August is a Sunni or a monster that can take people's souls by playing his violin. And then Kate is the daughter to someone who kind of hunts down and kills monsters. There are 3 types of monsters in this book. There are the Khorsai, the Malachi, and the Sunni, and August is the Sunni. And those ones are the rarest of them all. While I really liked the writing style of Victoria Schwab, I just didn't find the magic system to be that appealing to me. I found the whole stealing your soul with a violin thing to be a little, I don't know, Ursula-ish. So while this book really wasn't it for me, I am excited to still pick up Victoria Schwab's adult fiction books because I liked her writing. I just didn't think this was the book for me. We're gonna rapid fire this time because following that, I read the rest of A Court of Thorns and Roses, which includes A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Rings and Ruin, and A Court of Frost and Starlight. I gave these all 5 stars. We know this by now. I would die for Reese. That's about it. If you haven't read this series, go read it. After that whole fantasy bender, I went and picked up a contemporary and I picked up Fangirl. I was interested in Fangirl because I loved Carry On so much, so I was really excited to read something else by Rainbow Rowell. And I did enjoy this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I think my expectations were so high up from Carry On that I couldn't make it a 5-star, but it was definitely a solid 4. The thing about this book that I really enjoyed was the portrayal of the relationship between the 2 sisters. They're twin sisters and they've been best friends since birth, but then they go to college and one wants to go the other way while the other one still wants to hang on to her and be best friends. So it was really interesting watching the other sister, Kath, navigate the waters kind of by herself for the first time because she doesn't have her sister there with her. I thought it was really sweet. It put a smile on my face, and also the relationship between her and Levi was so cute. So if you want a good read, I definitely recommend this. This was great writing and I did enjoy it. So while we just talked about a 5-star fantasy series being A Court of Thorns and Roses, let's talk about a 1-star series. Oh my goodness, this selection series was it felt like I was pulling teeth the entire time trying to read through this. I kept thinking it was gonna get better and better, and it just kept getting worse. Like, how? First off, I think this could have been all 1 book. I thought this was ignorant to put it in 3 books. I found this to have very basic writing, and if it wasn't for the core romance in it, I would definitely almost want to categorize this writing as middle grade because of how just meh it was. I know this series is a lot of people's guilty pleasure, and I was really excited to just read a guilty pleasure book, but I did not get that at all out of this series. I found the romance to be boring. They even tried to do a love triangle, which didn't really bring much to the story. And America's inner dialogue, that's our main character, was just annoying most of the time. I just could not get past this whole series, and I wish I didn't buy the whole thing and read the whole thing, but I did. They are quick reads, but they weren't for me. Following that, I listened to the audiobook Truly Devious. I am totally blanking on the author of this, but I will put the picture of it right here. This was in my most recent tag on one of the most surprising, I think, because everybody loves this book and I just didn't. I gave it a 3 stars out of 5. I found this book hard to follow, and I don't know if I should blame that on the audiobook and listening to it and having breaks in between, or if it was just me trying to keep track of the two different time periods. Especially when it came to the older time period, I completely just didn't remember most of those main characters. So when they were talking about it, I'd be like, okay. Maybe if I read this as a physical copy, I would like it more, but to me, I just did not enjoy it. Even the plot twist toward the end, I just wasn't really, I don't know, it was not something I expected, but it really wasn't what would hook me into buying a sequel. So I was kind of bummed about this. I may want to pick this up as a physical copy at some point, but right now there are too many books that I want to read right now that I actually want to read, and not one that I'm just like already meh about. Following that, I read Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I gave this a 2-star out of 5. I would almost say that this is the fantasy equivalent to The Selection because it has that kind of romancy element to it, but it was just boring to read. The best way to describe this is if you're reading a movie script, in my opinion. It went by so fast and there were so many plot holes and scenes that could have been fleshed out more that just were skipped right over, or it was just like, oh, here's a problem and boop, it's fixed. And it's like, what? I know, again, a lot of people like this, but I just think that the writing style was way too fast-paced for me, that there was so much more detail that I wanted out of the book. I am a little bit upset about it because I did really enjoy the magic system out of this, how there are Gracelings in this world, and if you are a Graceling, you have a different color eye, and each Graceling can have a different power, so one can be very fast. Our main character is a Graceling at killing. There's just so many different graces somebody could have, and I think it could have been developed much better. And maybe it does in the companion books that come along with this, but unfortunately I didn't like this one enough to pick up those other books. If I should, please let me know down in the comment section below. The next book I listened to was Sadie. I gave it a 4 stars out of 5. I listened to it on audiobook, and that's how I would 10 out of 10 recommend listening to it, because it's really like you're listening to a true crime podcast. It is so interesting, and you can definitely tell when he's recording somebody or he's speaking into the microphone itself. It's really cool and it really keeps you engaged. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy this book because of the ending and how it's not really resolved, but I think that getting into Sadie's mind and what she was doing and why she was doing it, I think that kind of made it okay for me for that ending. So bear in mind that some people don't like the ending, but I did enjoy it enough to give it a 4 stars. After that, I read An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa. I gave this a 5 stars out of 5 stars. This is one that I was really excited to read ever since I started watching BookTube, and I'm so happy I did. Sabaa is so good at character development and world building, and I loved that about this whole book. There were so many interesting aspects about this book. I really enjoyed the villain in it. There's quite a few villains if you really think about it, but quite a few of them come from ancient stories that have been passed down, and they're kind of like mythical creatures, if you want to call them. And there's also the leader, the martial school, that is just so cruel and so violent and just not what I was expecting from a YA book. Like, it was just very, very intense. So I just was really interested by all those aspects, and I'm so excited to see where the story goes in this. After that, I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This I gave 5 stars out of 5 stars as well. What a great romance to read over 4th of July. This was so cute. It's about 2 boys, one the Prince of Wales and the other the first son of the United States, and they fall in love, but it's more of like an enemies to lovers situation. I loved looking inside of what the children's lives are like in a political setting. I thought that was really interesting. The romance in here was 10 out of 10, and it didn't leave you wanting more. The only thing about this book that I didn't really like was I feel like it dragged toward the end. I feel like it could have ended probably 3 chapters shorter, but that's all right. It was still a great book, and if you're looking for a nice, fun summer read, I definitely recommend picking up this book. And the last book that I read in these past 3 months was Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know what it is, but I really enjoy the topic of pirates or sirens or anything of that nature. I've always loved Pirates of the Caribbean and movies like that, so I was really excited to just pick this book up just because it's different than a magical school or a magical world or like a contemporary romance. It was just something different that I could pick up, and so for that reason I really liked it. In this book we follow our main character, Captain Alosa, who is trying to retrieve an ancient treasure map that is located on an enemy pirate ship. So she purposely tries to get herself kidnapped and put into that pirate ship in the jail cell so that she can search it and try to find that map. In the process, she does find a boy. She finds him unfairly attractive and things happen. But it is a really cool and fun read and something that kind of broke up the monotony of just high fantasy and contemporary romances for me. There were some things about it that I found to be a little lacking. Personally, I thought our main character's internal dialogue was super annoying. I understand that she was trying to be like this big bad girl and she's an independent woman and all this stuff, but like it was just like, we get it. Like, you don't have to keep drilling it in my brain. Like, I understand. And so it kind of got a little repetitive and a little annoying in that sense, but not enough for me to not pick up the second book, because I did. Also, I think the relationship in this was a little rushed. It felt like at some times like it was perfectly paced and then it would just stop and she would hate him and then they would be like, oh, but we're back and we're fine together now. And then they would hate each other and it would be like, there's no, like, it just went so on and off and it was just very hard to not follow, but it just didn't seem constant, which kind of annoyed me. But again, didn't annoy me enough to not get up the second book, so that is on its way as well, and I am excited to read that. I do know that one is higher rated on Goodreads than this one, so I am really excited to see what that book offers. And that is everything that I have read in the past 3 months. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, don't forget to leave them down in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I put new videos out every Thursday at 7 o'clock and occasionally on Mondays. I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye!